I made a video a couple weeks ago about how one can start enjoying the idea of intermittent fasting by changing their perspective of thought, right? Instead of viewing it as a sacrifice, to view it as gaining freedom from the activity of eating, right? I want to talk about another bad habit that I recently corrected because I had some inspiration behind it. I've been sleeping a whole lot better recently, and I kind of have a good reason why. One night, I fell asleep, and there was some news playing on the computer, and in the news segment, they were talking about how why bats would have COVID-19 and why bats don't die of COVID-19, and the idea was that because bats fly so much that it changes their immune system. And so I was asleep when I heard that, but in my dream I dreamt that a bunch of us had gone to this field with very strong wind currents so we could flap our arms and fly to kill COVID-19. And it obviously doesn't make any sense at all, but sometimes when I sleep it helps me digest things that I learned during the day that I might not have figured out. I've been doing that a lot recently. Right now I'm writing a paper on neural networks and how they can learn various situations in our everyday life, including but the potential for how we can learn how to do contact tracing of disease, and what else, and how do we input somebody's risk factors and how we can crunch that data. Recently I've been fascinated with that stuff because I just want to go back to my normal life. I mean, and I love artificial intelligence and machine learning anyway. And sometimes in the middle of my sleep, I hear something or I dream of something, and all of a sudden, bam, it all makes sense to me. One time, I was having trouble understanding how convolutional neural networks work, and I went to sleep and I dreamt that I was in a spaceship flying through Jupiter. Let's see if we can see Jupiter tonight. It's pretty bright at this time of the year, but I dreamt that I was flying through Jupiter and we were looking at clouds of Jupiter for life on Jupiter. And in my dream I was watching the neural network and how it would pick up signals of different groups of pixels and all that, and all of a sudden it all made sense to me. And ever since I had those experiences, especially the one 2 weeks ago involving the bats and trying to flap my arms and fly, ever since I had that experience, it made me really put some value into sleep. Sometimes sometimes the reason we have trouble fasting or getting enough sleep or keeping our social distance or anything real or focusing on like the paper that I'm writing, sometimes the reason we have trouble doing that is we don't put priority to it, right? Those are not hard tasks to do. Sometimes our value system is kind of broken, right? We value the idea of drinking soda a lot more than it really deserves. We value the idea of or we don't value the idea of novelty, right? Even though we have to connect with our friends via Zoom, and it's just as good, if not better, right? Now we can be freed up and not have to actually go somewhere. But a lot of people don't like novelty, right? A lot of people, as soon as they see any level of learning curve, right, they seize up, right? A lot of times, whether or not you make or break your goals is really a value system issue. And I encourage you to rethink of if things that you're trying to do, if they're, or don't even say try to do it, things that you need to do, if they have what value they bring, right? They probably bring a lot more value than you're giving it, and the alternative of not doing that probably has a lot of side effects that you're just overlooking for whatever reason, right?